Hello there and a very warm welcome to Donington Park for coverage of the 750 Motor Club's Championship Finals Day, taking place on the full 2.5 mile Grand Prix circuit. Time now for the penultimate race this season for the Nankang MX5 Cup by 5 Club Racing. It's round number 19 and there's still 4 drivers in with a very realistic shout of taking the championship. Just 22 points separating the first 4, with 100 points available for a win in each race. Red lights go on then for the penultimate time this season. The revs rise, the lights go out and away we go. And the best start is made by Will Blackwell Chambers from the outside of the front row of the grid. He slots ahead of Ben Short, this grid determined by free practice times from yesterday after the qualifying session was cancelled due to rain. Through Redgate they go for the first time, a full 42 car grid here, an absolutely magnificent sight these 1.6 litre Japanese roadsters make as they head through Hollywood and the Craner curves for the first time. We go on board with number 7 Harry Dean, who started this race in 15th position, so in the top half of the field, and he's well and truly stuck in the midst of the action there. Down through the old hairpin they go, and then it will be the climb through the left-hander at Schwantz curve up towards the right-hander at McLean's. That's the number 33 car, Paul Reed, starting at the back of the grid. He had to qualify out of session this morning. Through McLean's they go then. So far, I think it's so good for everybody. Everyone looks to have made it safely around the first half a lap or so. Back on board we go with Harry Dean. Oh, maybe I spoke too soon because he's off into the gravel trap on the exit of Coppice Corner. He manages to plough his way through there. He wasn't the only one to make that mistake by the looks of it. There was another one off in the background as well. Meanwhile, up front it's Ben Short now that has the lead of the race. And there's 2 blue cars right behind him, very similar livery, because the 43 car is Will Blackwell Chambers, but driving the 58 car is Mike Comber. Both of his team's cars, he runs MCR, Mike Comber Racing, but those cars hired out this weekend, and so he's having to go in this spare car for Will Blackwell Chambers. A bit of sideways action and biffing the barriers there, I'm afraid, is the number 34 driver, Matt Tasker, the man from Alfreton. Having a moment there for Greatrex. He spins, there's contact, Tattler's involved. So too is number 42, Sam Smith, one of 2 Sam Smiths in this race. He's gone into the barriers and drivers there had to scatter. Sam Smith, number 31, one of the 4 championship contenders, is getting on the grass even now. And I tell you what, he's got work to do because he started on 20th position on the grid. He's trying to scythe his way through the field, but he's left himself with a lot of work to do here at Donington this weekend. His namesake out of the car, very frustrated at getting caught up in that incident, and his race looks to be over. Well, this is another look at it really. So it was Jack Sycamore there going through on the inside, possibly just tagging number 44, which is Jason Greatrex. He spun around and his cars moved either side to avoid. There was contact. The number 18 car making it safely through was Jonathan Clements. Well, it's Will Blackwell Chambers that's now asserting his authority on this race. Ben Short, Jack Sycamore and Mike Comber, who's done as much winning as anybody, or more winning than anybody so far this season, with 5 race victories. Well, the same as Will Blackwell Chambers. He's there in 4th position, but he only joined the championship late, about halfway through the season. Had he done the full year, I'm sure that Mike Comber would have been one of the 5 championship contenders coming into this weekend, as it would have been if he'd been part of it. But just 4, and 3 of them are in the first 3 places at the moment, but it's looking good here for Will Blackwell Chambers. The thing that Will has got to be careful to do is make sure he gets home, because if he has a non-finish, he'll have to count that, because drivers dropped their 2 worst scores at the end of the season. He's already had 2 zeros. We're looking at the action a little bit further back down the order at the moment. That is the pink car, the bright pink car of Sam Smith coming through the field. I think there he's passing the car of Jake Bailey, number 14, who only managed to get into the race when there was a late dropout from Brian Chandler, and so Bailey, as one of the reserves, was able to get into the race. And he's having a look back at Sam Smith now. The driver from Norfolk loses out there to the number 14, Jake Bailey, the teenager from Stratford upon Avon. It's Sam Tatler, who's having a very good season here, that's at the head of this group of cars at the moment. That's the car of 81, I think. Is it Sebastian Fisher behind him? No, it's not there. Seb Fisher a little bit further back. I think actually it was the Clements car just behind him. It's got Leach going through in his familiar number 13 machine. Adam Bessel a bit further down the order than we normally see him as well. Big gaggles of cars all the way down the field. There's Harry Dean. He dropped back after that off at Coppice much earlier on in this race, and is trying to recover somewhat from that error. And this next group of cars has some side-by-side motoring and some sideways motoring in it as well. And one or two cars going off there, including going for a spin is number 130, Tim Hutchinson. So Tim Hutchinson, well, just about gets back onto the circuit. Here's this battle then. Sam Tatler has now lost out to the 18 car, Jonathan Clements. But Sam Tatler actually fourth on gross points before drop scores are taken into account coming into this weekend. He's had a pretty consistent season. He's finished every race he's taken part in so far. He'll be very pleased with how it's gone, I'm sure. Jake Bailey there, just behind him in number 40. Then you've got Sam Smith, Roger Chesno, who, let's not forget, was on the podium in the opening meeting of the season at Alton Park as well. Up to the left-handed hairpin at Goddard's they go. And back on to the Wheatcroft Straight, the start and finish straight here at Donington Park. Past the grandstand, over the finish line, start another lap. So this is the battle that's going on outside the top four, who are much further up the road. Oh, and a spinner broadside on the circuit on the exit of Goddard's is not where you want to be if you're Stephen Craggs. He's got going again now though. Fortunately, everybody managed to avoid him. Being broadside anywhere is not where you want to be, but particularly on a blind hairpin. I've seen already what can happen on the exit of that corner at the end of the first lap of the race. So Craggs continues, having had that moment, and he now outside the top 20. And Bessel going through in the bright blue car that you can see there. Courtney Milnes as well in treble 7. This battle going on between car 185, which is Gary Townsend, and the spin there, the 60 car involved, by the way, was Mark Willis, but 86 it is that spins around. That's Daniel Stewart. He's had some stronger meetings in the earlier part of the season. Still that battle going on then, involving that number 60 car. There's somebody slow up the hill, didn't quite catch who that was. Meanwhile, Will Blackwell Chambers still leading. A spin as well for number 13, which is Scott Leach, the man from Bedworth in Warwickshire. Oh, and Sam Tatler locking up there as he does battle with the 31 car of Sam Smith, who's clawing his way up the order, but I think he's probably ruling himself out of championship contention. I think that car that was going slowly was the number 18 car of Jonathan Clements, and now is looking for direction from the marshals as to where to put himself. Short and Sycamore side by side down towards the old hairpin now, with Mike Comber right in behind them as well, almost pushing Jack Sycamore, number 91, the driver from Milton Keynes, along there. Blackwell Chambers, you can see a few seconds up the road now, these three slowing one another up as they battle, but it's last year's champion Ben Short that is ahead. Last year's runner-up, or Blackwell Chambers it is, that leads the race. Jack Sycamore, fourth in last year's championship, involved in this scrap as well. He's lost out now to Comber as they go through Coppice and back down the exhibition straight towards the Fogarty S's. So So are we going to see a move going into the right and left-hander at the end of the straight? It's Short there with the number 1 on his car, the BS Motorsport Run Machine in second position, as there we see number 9, which is Ian Tomlinson, but we also see that it's spinning number 40 car of Ben Hansey, the company director from Northampton. I don't think he'll have lost too many places. There was a bit of a gap there. Well, this is the onboard view from Ben Hansey. It goes round as a full 360, so at least he's pointing in the right direction. He loses, I think, about 3 places. Still, you've got Mike Comber in the middle of this sandwich, second and fourth, the 2 white cars. It's the AB Motorsport car of Jack Sycamore at the rear of that group, and there's some contact and there's some rubbing, and off into the gravel goes Ben Short. Short through the gravel. Now where's Comber gone? Well, he's continuing, but he's dropped back behind Jack Sycamore, but Ben Short now has some rally crossing to do to get back onto the circuit. He's trying to make his way back onto track, but you can see how big the gap was behind him. I think he's still going to come onto the track probably in about 4th position. No, he's going to fall just into the group behind, I think. There's Sycamore then, and there is Mike Comber. So this is now the, well, I say fight for second and third, but there's actually quite a few car lengths between them. Blackwell Chambers it is that still leads the way. Now will we see the next group of cars, and where is Ben Short in all of this? Well, he's not near the front, that's for certain, because you've got Jake Bailey and Sam Smith absolutely side by side for 4th position, and it's Smith that goes through on the inside. Sam Tatler goes extremely wide, and there at the rear of the group, the white number 1 car, Ben Short, so he is at the back of that group, about 7 cars ahead of him then. Last lap gets underway, so Short's got some work to do to try and find his way back towards the shop. Oh, and pulling off is Jack Sycamore from 3rd position. Comfort got back through, but a problem, it looks like a suspension failure that puts Jack Sycamore out of the race, and that may well be the end of his championship hopes. Here's this fight going on. This now is for 3rd position, and it's Jake Bailey that is in the ascendancy at the moment, but Sam Smith tries to get back alongside him now, but Bailey holds on. A great drive this from the teenager. Sam Smith a little bit more experienced in Mazda MX-5 racing, although it's his first full season in the Nankang MX-5 Cup by 5 Club Racing. 5th position is Seb Fisher, and 6th place at the moment is Roger Chesno in the 105 car. But I don't think this race is over yet. Through Schwanzkirch now, up to McLean's they come. Smith, he wants to get as high up the order as he possibly can to just staying in contention for the championship going into the final round, although that's looking ever more unlikely now. He's lost out there though to Jake Bailey, was close to losing out to Seb Fisher and Roger Chesno as well. Through Coppice and onto the exhibition straight for the final time. Jake Bailey may well have done enough here, I reckon, but they're ganging up on Sam Smith. It's Sebastian Fisher trying to get alongside him for 5th position, and look who's just behind Chesno. It's that man Ben Short as well on the fight back. He gets alongside Chesno now, so that would be for about 6th position, I think, as up to the line comes Will Blackwell Chambers to take the checkered flag. It's his 6th victory of the season, and how important could that be in the context of this championship? Who's going to be 3rd though? I think it's going to be Jake Bailey. It's tied for 4th. Sam Smith 3rd at the moment, and look, Ben Short's made his way up into 5th position. Is it going to stay that way? I think it will. Seb Fisher through on the inside there of Chesno. Up to the line they come, and Bailey gets 3rd. A great drive from him. His maiden podium in the MX-5 Cup. Well, what a race that was, and a great drive from Will Blackwell Chambers, doing what he needed to do, taking a comfortable win in the end by 8 seconds. Mike Comber 2nd, Jake Bailey 3rd, Sam Smith 4th, and Ben Short after that off, getting back up into the top 5 ahead of Sebastian Fisher. Well, outside the top 10, the 11th place car was Matthew Short ahead of Courtney Milnes. Then it was Ali Bray racing rather than team managing this time in 13th position. Ben Hansey recovered from his spin to 14th position.
Will, you've done first part of the job, you needed to win, and that's what you've exactly done.
Yeah, amazing race. Car's absolutely brilliant. Thanks to Mike Comber Racing for giving us a hand with it. No, it was immense race. Didn't expect that. Brilliant racing for the first lap between me and Ben. Really, really clean, really, really tidy, and then just managed to stretch the gap a bit.
Yeah, apart from the first couple of laps, you got your head down and pulled out that nice gap.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time looking in the mirrors and gauging how much. I think I'm a bit slow through the hairpins, but I think over a lap I've got it. I managed to forget the card in my data logger, so I had no idea actually what lap times I was doing, which made it quite difficult. But no, happy with that. Really happy with that result.
I have to say, there was lots going on behind which you stayed out of, but as I said, you need to kind of keep yourself out front, because to do the championship, you need to win pretty much both races.
With the points we've got, I don't actually need to win, I don't believe. We've got a little bit of a buffer. The most important thing, and you've seen the demolition derby that's going on there, is keeping out of that. So we'll see how the next race goes, but I just want to keep clean.
Great stuff. Well, and Will, good luck for race number 2 as well. Let's have a chat with our second place man, which is Mike Comber. Mike, if you would like to make your way over to us and we'll have a chat with you. Really frantic race, to be fair. What happened from your point of view?
Yeah, it was a good race. I was sort of just sitting there and watching most of it, just waiting for the mistakes, and Jack made the first one, which sort of handed me third place, and then Ben was I think he was just lacking a bit of speed and trying to cover his second place, and I think both me and Jack were stronger drivers. Went for a bit of a move just coming onto the Dunlop straight, and just had a bit of a coming together. Until I see the footage, I don't know what went on. It happened so quick. But yeah, unfortunately, I sort of managed to sort of hold in there, but lose out to Jack, and don't know what happened to Jack in the end. But yeah, it was a good fun race up until that point. I enjoyed it. Try and keep it as clean as you try to, but yeah, it's one of them, unfortunately.
You're a youngster, we've been told. You're 16 years old,
16.
On the podium. Well done.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it wasn't easy, but enjoyed it. Yeah, loved it.
Had to work hard, I have to say, because you had everyone trying to gang up on you.
Yeah, it was good. Thanks to Pete at the Motorsport School. He's been coaching me all the way through the year, and he's been really influential on my results.
And Donington Park is not the easiest of circuits. Lots going on out there.
No, but it's my favourite, so good on to win at, third, sorry.
Time now for the title decider in the Nankang MX5 Cup by 5 Club Racing. For Will Blackwell-Chambers, the equation is pretty simple. If he finishes 18th or higher, he will be the champion, but he needs to finish. Lights go out, away we go. We're on board with the number 26 car of Jason Shatton from row 17 of this huge grid. 42 cars taking the start of this race. Looks like he's lost a few positions, I'm afraid to say, as the race gets underway. Down towards the first corner. At Redgate Corner they go. We've got to watch Jack Sycamore there, number 91 in the middle of the pack, and behind him is teammate number 29, Azam Bessel. Both had problems in race 1, both having to start from the back of the grid here, and Sycamore just needs to drive like crazy really to stand any chance now of taking the championship, and he's got to rely on problems for others. Down towards the old hairpin for the first time in this race. Beautiful day here at Donington, viewed from a rather unusual angle there. And it's Blackwell-Chambers that has the lead then. He's ahead of Comber, then it's Sam Smith in third place, so he's made a very good start. The grid for this race determined by the results of race number 1. There's Ben Short getting ahead of Jake Bailey now, then it's Roger Chesno and Sam Tatler. And then Sam Haggerty, I think, in the number 85 car. Down the exhibition straight towards the Fogarty S's. Top 2 then together. I'm sure with Comber having been working with Blackwell-Chambers this weekend, he'll be very keen to avoid an incident between those two, which could cost Blackwell-Chambers the championship. He's already had 2 non-finishes this season, and drivers can only drop their 2 worst scores at the end of the year, so a DNF would be disaster for his title hopes. Sam Smith in third, Ben Short 4th, Bailey 5th, Chesno 6th, Tatler 7th is the way of things. There's Scott Leach and Jack Sycamore in the middle of that pack as well, so he's made up a lot of ground on this first lap of the race. A great first lap from him, but as I suggest with that suspension issue he had at the end of the first race, it's going to be too much now to ask for him to win the championship. Ben Short could still pick up the pieces, I think, from Will Blackwell-Chambers. He was the champion last year, of course. But he too had his problems in race 1, as we go back on board with 26 Jason Shatton. It's a great mass of MX5s here. Mark 1 1600cc cars running on these Nankang tyres. It's a very low cost, affordable way to go racing and lots of people do it, as you can see. Packed grids here at Donington. Blackwell Chambers now getting away in the lead of this race. The 21-year-old from Basingstoke, ahead of Leicestershire man Comber. It's short now, up to third place by the looks of things. There's Sam Haggerty doing battle with Roger Chesno, 105. And then the two blue cars getting themselves together as well. That's Bailey, who was really happy with his podium in race 1, but he's lost a place there to Sam Tatler. Oh, and several cars off there, including one of the MCR cars, I think, and also number 34, which is Matt Tasker. He had a moment in race 1 as well, I think. Drives around the outside of the gravel trap. Out of Goddard's then. There you can see 29, Adam Bessel on the grass there as he seeks to recover. There's a bit of rubbing there as they try and go 2 or 3 wide on the way out of Goddard's. Everyone survives though. Oh, and someone there having a moment in the background and a moment in the foreground, and it was those two cars that were involved. And it's Bessel and the 185 of Gary Townsend, the rugby driver. He's beached in the gravel now. Did Bessel get away from that? I suspect, looking at that Townsend won't, and he's going to be out of the race at the start of lap 5. Jason Greytreck's already a retirement. He's been a front runner at times and podium finisher at times during the course of the season. Notably at Anglesey, had 2 podiums in Wales. Ben Short there now ahead of Mike Comber in second position. Those two drivers had that coming together in the first race. They're pulling away now from 4th, 5th and 6th. Sam Smith's, I think his hopes now of the championship have disappeared. So it's going to be between Blackwell Chambers and Short, and Blackwell Chambers almost certainly. Short there about to lose a position to the man that has won 5 races during the course of the season, 4 of them in a row at Anglesey and Cadwell Park. Number 58, Mike Comber, makes his way back up towards Goddard now, having sealed the place. Short will try and outbrake him there, but things going to the A1 plan for all Blackwell Chambers, because there was a pull away from those two. Great 3-way fight for 4th, and Sam Smith there is going to pounce. There's bumpers hanging off the car of Jake Bailey. He holds on to 4th though. Smith goes through to 5th. It's Tatler now down to 6th position. A huge scrap. No quarter asked or given, I think, in that particular battle. And it's just really good Mazda MX-5 racing. Good speed carried through focuses there. That's so important, because it then just sets you up to be able to make the outbraking manoeuvre down into the Melbourne hairpin. Tatler's, he's got alongside Sam Smith. Can he convert this into 5th place? Got his nose in front, and I think he's just about going to be able to do it. But then, of course, it's a right-hand hairpin followed by a left-handed hairpin. If Smith had been able to stay alongside him, I think he'd have got 5th place back. But look at this. This battling now is bringing the number 81 car into the equation. That's Sebastian Fisher, Seb Fisher. He finished 6th in race 1. We go now on to the final lap of this race. So it's basically 4 cars now disputing 4th place. And actually, who's that in the background? It is, it's Jack Sycamore. There he is, number 91. He's up to 8th place now from the back of the grid. He started this race on row 18, 36th position. He's now up to 8th. He's had a wonderful drive. I'm sure it's been a lot of fun. He might not going to win the championship this year, but he'll certainly have enjoyed this final race of the season. And as the outgoing champion, he's not going to have the number 1 on his car for very much longer, isn't Ben Short. That mantle will be handed over to Will Blackwell Chambers, unless there's an incident in the last few corners of this race. Blackwell Chambers, he's been racing in MX-5s for a few seasons now, looking to notch his first title though, and it will be thoroughly deserved, I suggest. He's had more podiums than anybody else this year, 14 out of the 19 races that we've had this season. Next best on 11, I think, is Sam Smith, although Smith hasn't had a victory this year. Through the Melbourne hairpin for the final time goes Will Blackwell Chambers. Climbing now back up the hill towards Goddard. Pulse will be racing, I would think. Just needs to make sure that nothing goes wrong on the car. You can see him on the inset now. He's going to take the flag and win the Nankang MX5 Cup by 5 Club Racing, but down at the hairpin is a spin for Jake Bailey at the second to last corner. He's waved goodbye to 4th position there. Who is going to get that place though, as number 18 Jonathan Clements goes through. Up at the Goddard hairpin though, it is Jack Sycamore. I don't believe it. He's made up 4 places as a result of that, and he finishes 4th from 36th on the grid. Brilliant drive from Jack. It's going to be Seb Fisher that takes 5th, and Sam Smith finishes the season with a 6th place. But that win for Will Blackwell Chambers, more than enough to guarantee him the title. Mike Comber having a very strong second half of the year. We didn't see him in the first half of the year. Ben Short takes 3rd, and Sycamore, that great drive to 4th ahead of Fisher, Smith, Sam Tatler 7th, and Roger Chesno 8th. Bit further back, Ali Bray finished in 11th place in that one, ahead of Courtney Mills. Matthew Short 13th. The other Sam Smith also had to come from the back to take 14th position, with Scott Leach completing the top 15.
Will Blackwell Chamber, well done indeed. You are the race winner, and more importantly, the 2016 champion.
Yeah, it's nice. Heck of a race that. Yeah, managed to put a little bit of a gap again. I think Comber got caught up with Ben and yeah, stretched the gap, continued on going. Yeah, can't believe it. Absolutely brilliant. So happy.
You've done the job you needed to this weekend. Just get your head out there, get in front, hold everyone else off, and take 2 wins. Yeah,
didn't expect the 2 wins bit, to be honest. Thought we'd just come here and kind of just circulate, really. Do the best we could, but no, car's been absolutely fantastic. No, everything's on point. So happy with it.
Was it nice having Mike there as a kind of buffer?
I think Mike was doing his own race, to be honest. I mean, yeah, sure, it's nice that there's 2 blue cars, but other than that, I don't think there's much in it. I think Mike was probably the same pace as me, but of course, as soon as he had to start defending, he dropped off, and that just let me go a little bit.
Well, an awesome weekend, a great year, and well done on the championship.
Yeah, thanks very much. Hopefully back again next year.
Great stuff.